welcome to Splatter Shop. Today we will be unboxing and reviewing Home Depot's Ultra Skelly. Alright, the first step is you're going to get out your base, which is labeled A, and then you're going to get your 2 feet, which are labeled B and C, and you're going to slide them right over the poles on both sides. All right, the next step is you're going to take your 2 leg poles, which is E and D, and then you're going to slide the lower legs, which is G and F, down both poles. Now on each pole, there is a screw that you have to screw in on each side. Next, you're going to grab the upper legs, which is H and I, and you're going to slide them on top of the poles. And they should just settle on top of the lower leg. And so, all right, grab your hip bone, which is labeled J, and you're going to slide it down on the 2 legs until it snaps in. This one was a little bit on the tight side. I had to wiggle it a little bit. It barely cleared the pin, but I did get it on. The next piece is K, which is your rib cage. Now, before you slide them down, there is no pin. It's just simply a screw right here. Before you slide them down, you've got 2 cables right here that you need to connect. They are both weatherproof. They're the type that you just screw on. Go ahead and tuck them down in here once you've got them connected. And then you're going to slide the rib cage down. And there's a little hole back here, which allows you to screw this in and tighten it up against the pole. Go ahead and grab your head, which is labeled H. Now this is servo, so it's got like a rod underneath the head. And this pole right here with the screw has a hole on top, which you just slide that rod down. And there are actually 3 cords, also weatherproof, that you have to screw on. And then after you've got them all connected, slide them up the head and put the rod down and screw the screw on the back to tighten it. So this is the last 2 steps before you plug them in. You're going to get the 2 arms labeled M and N. There is a notch on the torso. You just simply slide them on. And then there's a screw here and here that you tighten to fasten it to those notches. Before we run a demo, we're going to look at the app. Right now we're looking at the create a sound option. Usually you would record yourself. After you're done recording yourself, you can go in and you can change up the movement. As you can see, there's the options there. Lights, as far as the mouth and the rib cage. And then last but not least is your eyes. And as you can see, there are several options. So besides creating your own sounds, you can go to the live option. It's going to prompt you to connect to a whole different live version of your Skelly. This one, I'll be honest, when you first test it out, you're going to want to stand a good distance from your Skelly because of interference alone. You could possibly blow out your speaker by being too close to it. The other thing that a lot of people don't know is you can put in live mode and simply go to another app, like I have YouTube Music, and you could play anything, like music or something from a movie, and have your skeleton pretty much say anything that you're playing on that app. Personally, I think the live feature needs some fine tuning. It's very hard to play music with him because you have to pretty much adjust the volume constantly because his mouth movement does pick up on things like instruments, and it doesn't always move with just the vocals alone. So personally, I think that I'm not going to be using the live option this year. I think it hasn't been perfected yet. All right, it is time for the demo. Now, once you've gotten all of your recordings done, you can select which ones you want to use. And what you do is you go to the back here and you gotta click it till it's down to sensor mode, which is the very bottom.
Yeah. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. This is my bootleg.
Okay, so in case you're wondering, I did use Evil Dead. That is Ash Williams. That's probably who I'm gonna go with this year. I've always wanted a Evil Dead animatronic, and we haven't gotten one yet. So I figured, with the skeleton, why not, upload some Ash Williams on him? I mean, because he's hilarious. And watching Skelly say most of Ash Williams' line is also, very funny. So let's go through a few of them. Your sensor is going to... Your sensor is going to pretty much trigger whatever, you've saved on your playlist as far as recordings go. Let's do a few more. Now, most of the demos I just showed you didn't include the arm movement. I just went ahead and saved one just to kind of show you, how the arm works. And one of my critiques later on when I review this is how loud it is. So here we go. So it is time to review Ultra Skelly. Let's start off with the pros. The first one is he is a condensed version of the giant Skelly. So the quality, the material, it's great. I don't think any of it is brittle or easy to break. I think that he is very well built. Now, when it comes down to constructing him, he was actually super easy to put together, which is always a plus with these animatronics, because most times you're going to run into something that is difficult. I did not run into anything that was difficult with this guy. Probably the hardest part, I would say, was the head, because at that point, he starts getting, a little bit on the tall side. And having to hook up the cords. Doing it by myself was a little tricky, but I managed. If you have two people doing it, it's much easier. So customization, very nice. As far as appearance goes, you can adjust the eyes, as I showed you on the app. There is lighting in the mouth and the rib cage. You can adjust both of those as well. They look great. You can choose, between a strobe effect, as well as like a pulsing one, or you can just keep the light static like it is right now. So let's move on to the cons. And as great as this guy is, I'm just gonna say, like, there are two cons that makes or breaks this guy as far as if he's a keeper. And there are some things you can do to work around it. I do understand from a design point why some of these things were done. One of them I'm a little bit more forgiving with, the other one not so much, and I'll explain why. So the arm is heavy, and because it is heavy, the motor, and this arm is the only one that moves, by the way, it is loud when it's lifting the arm up and down. And that would not be such an issue if the speaker was loud and booming, but it is not. And, the arm I'm more forgiving about. What I don't agree with is they did not give you the option to add, like, there's no speaker jack. Like, you can't hook up an external speaker, which could provide, the booming sound that would actually make this arm, not so apparent when it's moving up and down. So that's one design flaw I will say that I'm not so forgiving about, is the speaker option. They should have had a speaker jack. And honestly, if you're tech savvy enough, I have a friend that installed a speaker jack on his. It sounds great. It's a huge improvement. If you're tech savvy enough, I say go ahead and add one. Even if you're not, maybe try to find someone that can add it or install it for you. Because once you've done that, he's pretty much near perfect. I would probably say the speaker issue and not having a jack is a bigger gripe than the arm and the motor. So, it's just one of those things where, you're gonna have to like consider, if you're not willing to put in a jack, speaker jack, that you may run into some issues as far as where you can place Ultra Skelly in your display. Because if you put them around other animatronics that are, booming and loud, he's probably going to get drowned out, and you're not going to be able to hear half the phrases or things he says. And that's not a good thing. So this prop, as great as he is, he may not, work out for everybody as far as their displays go. So one thing I did miss when I was talking about customizations and the appearance, I just wanted to point out before I wrap up my review, is the hands. They're great. I've seen people use, like swords, lanterns. Like, you can adjust these. You can pose the fingers on both of them. And they're pretty sturdy as far as what they're, capable of holding. So that's another customization feature that I think is definitely a plus. So would I recommend this guy? Yes, I would. I think he's great. I know most of the time I say yes, and sometimes, later on I change my mind. But I think what you're really going to have to look at is two things if you decide to keep this guy or even buy him, is where are you putting him? If you're going to put him around, like I said, around a bunch of animatronics that are very loud and booming, that's going to be an issue. So if it is going to be an issue, are you willing to add your own speaker jack to Skelly or have someone install it? And if the answer is no, and you're putting him in a location, with other animatronics that are loud, I would not recommend this guy. So I've got to be honest, when I do say, like, would I? Yes, I would. But you have to consider, these two things. And if they are an issue, then the answer is no. Do not get the Ultra Skelly. But personally, I'm happy with this guy. Like I said, I'm going to have it modified. I'm going to have the speaker jack added. And as far as it goes, he's a keeper for me. So thanks for watching this video. And remember to like and subscribe.